Let's get more now on the news that allegations of abuse by Jimmy Savile will be investigated at an additional 8 hospitals and 1 ambulance service. This brings the number of NHS locations where he's thought to have offended to 41. Well, Effa Schmidt is a senior abuse lawyer at Slater and Gordon, who've acted for a number of sex abuse victims involving Jimmy Savile, and she joins us now from central London. Thanks for coming in to talk to us. Your reaction to these developments today?
Yes, well, very sadly, we are not surprised to see that there are further investigations into the prolific abuse that Savile has been able to get away with for a number of years.
Why are you not? Yes, why are you not surprised?
Well, because, quite frankly, Savile used absolutely any opportunity that he had, wherever he was, whichever part of the country he was in any hospital or any institution, to prolifically abuse victims.
What impact is this likely to have on those victims of his abuse?
It's very difficult for victims because many victims just want closure as far as it comes to Savile. However, we must remember that it's so incredibly important that we get to the absolute truth and discover the true extent of Savile's prolific abuse.
Given that he's dead, how difficult is it to bring actions against someone like him?
It is, but we have to remember here it's all about the victims, and as far as the victims are concerned, they are being listened to, and people can understand now what they went through at the hands of such a prolific abuser.
And what would your advice be to those victims now?
Well, my advice to victims is always to come forward. Most importantly, victims are being listened to, and I think this is what we have to understand in terms of the widening of these investigations, is that is exactly what is happening.
I know it must be very difficult, and difficult in a sense for, we can discuss this, we don't know what it was like, do we? But we talk about trying to achieve this sense of closure. That must be very, very difficult for victims, mustn't it?
It's incredibly difficult for victims, and victims have had great courage to come forward. However, what victims want to know now is how Savile was allowed to get away with this. Somebody has to be accountable for what happened.
And in terms of this delay, because we were also expecting a report today into abuse at 4 hospitals, including Stoke Mandeville, that we understand has now been delayed, that's going to have an impact on victims as well, isn't it?
Of course it is, and it's very difficult for these victims because they want closure. However, victims also want to get to the truth and to the bottom and to the extent of the abuse.
OK, Effa Schmidt, we're very grateful for your time. Many thanks. I've got an update to bring you